Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing well today. Hope you all are healthy, and so is your family. So I'm gonna load a video on finding the equation of a straight line passing through this point. But when you go to the edge elastic, you're gonna see three different problems. One problem is gonna be on this. Another problem is going to be on just finding a slope. So if I give you 2 points, finding the slope. And then the third problem is going to be on finding a missing side from two similar shapes. So finding the value of x, but we've done that before. And in case you're still confused with that, there is a video that I loaded last Friday that you can take a look at. And it's on Google Classroom. That'll take you to the YouTube channel. Okay, here we go. So what we have here is find the equation of a straight line passing through -9, 10, and 15, 2. Well, because we see straight line right here, automatically, we should be thinking of y equals mx plus b. And when we're dealing with y equals mx plus b, we're trying to find two things. The value of m, which is the slope, and the value of b, which is the y-intercept. To find m, we're going to need to find the change, or delta y, over the change, or delta x. So to do that, we're going to have to look at the 2 points, right? Because each point has an x value and a y value. This point also has an x value and a y value. And we can go from -9, 10 to 15, 2, or from 15, 2 to -9, 10. Now in the previous video, we went from the first point written to the second point written. So this time we're going to go from the second point written to the first point written. So we're going to call this point 15, 2, point number 1. We're going to call this point -9, 10, point number 2. So we'll start here and end here, right? Now we're looking first at delta y, the change in y, which means we got to look at the y values. And we have 2 and 10. Now we're going from 2, the first point, to 10, the second point. If I go from 2 to 10, that's an increase. So I already know that the change is positive, because going from 2 to 10 is an increase. Well, an increase of how much? Well, from 2 to 10 will be 8. So that's 8 numbers there. Because to get from 2 to 10, you need 8 numbers. Okay, that was delta y, and that was somewhat simple. Let's look at delta x. So we're going from 15, which is this x value, to -9. Since we're going from a positive to a negative, automatically that's a decrease, right? So we're gonna go negative right here. Well, from 15 to -9, okay? Let's think about just going from 15 to 0. So if we go from 15 to 0, that's already 15 numbers. Now, if we go from 0 to -9, that's another 9 numbers. So to go from 15 to -9, that's 24 numbers. So we're decreasing by 24. This is the part where I told you guys that when we deal with algebra, geometry, and any sort of upper division math from now on, understanding how to add, subtract, multiply, divide integers is going to be super important. So if you're still confused with that, I'm gonna leave a link to IXL so that you can practice operations with integers. But let's keep going here. So now we know that our slope is +8 over -24ths, or we can call this 8 -24ths, or -8 24ths. We're going to divide this by a giant 1 to simplify. My giant 1 in this case is going to be 8/8. And now 8 divided by 8 is going to be 1. -24 divided by 8 is going to be -3. So our slope is 1 -3, or -1/3. So there's our slope. Since we already know our slope, we kind of know half of the equation already. because we know the value of m, which should go right here. So we're going to go y equals negative 1/3 x plus b. I don't know b yet. That's what I have to find. I have to find the y-intercept. And we're going to do this algebraically right now. Well, to solve for a variable, I don't want to have another two variables, which is the case right here. I have x and I have y. So I'm going to replace x and I'm going to replace y with either this point right here, 15.2, or this point right here. We can try it with both, and I guarantee that both are going to work. Now, the reason I'm replacing x and y with these points is because this is a line. This equation right here will end up being a line if I graph. Once I graph this line will be, or will go through this point and this point, which tells me that these 2 points belong to this line. Since these points belong to this line, I can easily replace the x value here and put it right here. Replace the y value here and put it right here. What I cannot do is replace this x value and this y value. I can't mix and match the x and y values. I can pick a point and replace the x and the y right here. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. That's my coffee. I'm gonna go get my cafecito. I'll be right back. Okay. I just realized that if I press pause, I'm gonna have 2 videos to mash together, and I'm not gonna do that. My coffee's gonna have to wait. This is sad news. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna choose point 1 to replace x and y. And the reason I'm choosing point 1 is kind of simple. It's because both values are positive, and that's just gonna make my life a little bit easier. So where I see x right here, I'm going to replace with this value of x. Where I see y, I'm going to replace with this value of y. And it's going to look like this. I'm using parentheses to substitute my values. So x right here, I'm replacing with 15. Y right here, I'm replacing with 2. Now let's do a little bit of side work because we got to multiply negative 1/3 times 15. So negative 1/3 times 15 ones. It's going to be a negative because a negative times a positive equals a negative. So 1 times 15, that's 15. 3 times 1, that's 3. So we have negative 15/3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So it's going to be negative 5. This is our side work. Or I can cross cancel, right? I can go 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times negative 1, negative 5. So now I have negative 5 here plus b equals 2. Now, I'm only left with solving for b, so I'm going to balance. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And b equals 7. So my y-intercept is 7. Cool. Now I know my slope, which is negative 1/3, and I know my y-intercept, which is 7. So I have my equation. Y equals negative 1/3, because that's m, x. Don't forget the x. A lot of you guys forget that x right there. Plus 7. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this exact same problem, right? We already found the slope. So take this exact same problem and get to here, right? And then I want you to substitute, instead of substituting this point here, substitute this point for x and for y. And see if you also get b equals 7. You have to get b equals 7. If you can do this, if you can substitute the x and the y and get b equals 7, then you're kind of understanding what we're supposed to do. So besides this, to practice before you go in Edulastic, you can choose to do this part right here. You could take this one, which is find the equation of a straight line passing through negative 10, negative 12, and 5, negative 6, and see if you get the same thing I get. So at this point, press pause and see if you get exactly what I get, because I'm about to do this really fast, okay? Here we go. We got y equals mx plus b. I need the value of m. I need the value of b. I'm gonna go x, y, x, y. This will be 0.1. This will be 0.2. Okay, y, I'm going from negative 6 to negative 12. That is a decrease. So negative 6 to negative 12, that's negative 6 right there. Okay, now I'm going from 5 to negative 10. That's going to be also a decrease. So and that's going to be 15. I'm going to divide by a giant 1. And we're going to go 3/3. So it's going to be, by the way, this is a negative divided by a negative, so it's a positive. So this will be 2/5. There's my slope. So I got y equals 2/5 x plus b. I'll take this point. So wherever I see x, I'll replace with x. Wherever I see y, I'll replace with y. So this will be negative 6 equals 2/5 times 5 plus b. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So I get 2 plus b equals negative 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. I'm sorry, subtract 2 from both sides. b equals negative 8. So my equation should be y equals 2/5 x minus 8. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hope this helped. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a new video. Please make sure that you post any questions that you might have on Google Classroom. And then I'll try to create another video to clarify those questions.